The Awakening. The observers existed before stars were born. Before the universe cooled enough for matter to form, they watched, ancient, patient, and utterly incomprehensible to lesser beings. They had seen countless civilizations rise and fall across the cosmos, each following predictable patterns of evolution, expansion, and eventual extinction. Some species burned bright and fast, achieving spaceflight only to annihilate themselves with their own weaponry. Others expanded methodically, creating vast empires that endured for millions of years before succumbing to entropy. The observers catalogued them all with detached interest, finding comfort in the cosmic patterns that repeated endlessly across billions of galaxies, until they encountered humans. The incident that first drew their attention was unremarkable by cosmic standards. In the outer reaches of a modest spiral galaxy, an exploratory vessel from the Tholian Confederation, a species with 3 million years of stable interstellar civilization behind them, encountered a small human outpost on an icy dwarf planet. The outpost should not have existed. The planet orbited a dying red dwarf star that emitted lethal radiation pulses at random intervals. The surface temperature fluctuated between -210 and -120 degrees Celsius. The atmosphere was a toxic soup of methane and ammonia. Yet there it stood, a collection of domed structures that pulsed with light and activity. Initial scans complete, Fleet Commander reported Science Officer Zeth Carr, their crystalline sensory appendages vibrating with confusion. I'm detecting 37 life signs. Bipedal mammals, impossible carbon-based organisms. They're singing. Fleet Commander Thonar shifted their massive body, causing the command chair to creak under the weight of their armored exoskeleton. Singing. Yes, what appears to be communal vocalization. And they've detected us. On the view screen, a fuzzy image appeared. A human face, pink and fragile-looking, with no protective adaptations visible. The being smiled, a gesture that the Tholian translator struggled to interpret, and spoke. Hello there. Welcome to Outpost Erebus. You folks look a bit lost. Need any help? The conversation that followed would be recorded and studied by the Tholian Confederation for generations to come. The humans, calling themselves the Erebus Research Team, had established their outpost to study the dying star. They had developed a method to predict the radiation pulses 20 minutes before they occurred, just enough time to activate their shields. When questioned about the extreme cold, the humans laughed. Oh, we just adapted some mining tech from Europa, said Dr. Eliza Chen, the outpost director. Running a coolant system in reverse. Inefficient as hell, but it keeps us toasty. And the atmosphere. Zeth Carr couldn't contain their bewilderment. That was tricky, admitted Chen. But we figured out a symbiotic bacteria that processes the methane and gives us oxygen as a byproduct. We're actually terraforming, but it'll take a few centuries. Want to see our greenhouse? We're growing tomatoes. The Tholians declined the tour. They departed quickly, transmitting a detailed report back to their homeworld. The report contained a warning. Exercise extreme caution when dealing with humans. They do not behave according to established environmental limitations. The observers noted the encounter with mild interest. A species surviving in hostile conditions wasn't unprecedented, merely unusual. But they continued watching. 3 standard years later, the human outpost faced catastrophe. The dying star entered its final phase, emitting a massive radiation pulse 1,000 times stronger than any previously recorded. The observers expected the human settlement to be vaporized instantly. It wasn't. Instead, the humans had converted their entire outpost into a massive radiation collector. The lethal energy was absorbed, channeled, and stored. When the pulse ended, the outpost had not only survived, but had harvested enough energy to power their operations for decades. The observers stirred. This was unexpected. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, another human vessel encountered a crisis. The exploration ship Pathfinder strayed into the territory of the Morrigan Collective, a hive consciousness occupying 17 star systems. The Morrigans were ancient, powerful, and notoriously xenophobic. No non-Morrigan vessel had entered their space and returned. The Pathfinder, with a crew of just 12 humans, was quickly surrounded by a Morrigan war fleet. Conventional wisdom dictated immediate surrender or swift annihilation. Captain Thomas Reyes chose a third option. Open a channel, he ordered his communications officer. "Sir, they're not responding to standard hails," reported Lieutenant Park. "Then we'll have to be creative. What do we know about the Morrigans?" Science officer Dr. Aisha Mbeki consulted her data. Hive mind, communal consciousness, extremely advanced bioengineering. They communicate through pheromones and electromagnetic pulses. Reyes smiled. "Perfect. Lieutenant Park, reconfigure our communications array to emit EM pulses matching their patterns." Dr. Mbeki analyzed their ship formations. There must be a pattern there that suggests hierarchical communication. Within hours, the humans had constructed a rudimentary translator that could approximate Morrigan communication. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough to convey a simple message. "We come in peace. We seek knowledge, not conquest." The Morrigans were stunned. No species had ever attempted to communicate with them in their own language. Their response was cautious but curious. Instead of destroying the Pathfinder, they escorted it to a neutral zone where further communication could take place. What followed was unprecedented. A cultural exchange between humans and the Morrigan collective. The humans shared their music, art, and philosophy. The Morrigans shared their biological sciences and understanding of communal consciousness. A year later, a formal treaty was signed. The Morrigans opened their borders to human scientists. Human settlements began incorporating Morrigan biotechnology. The observers watched with growing concern. Twice now, humans had defied the expected outcome. They didn't surrender to superior forces. They didn't flee from hostile environments. Instead, they adapted, overcame, and transformed challenges into opportunities. As human expansion accelerated, more patterns emerged. Unlike other species, humans didn't specialize. A human colony on a desert world developed moisture harvesting technology that was later adapted by another colony for underwater habitation. Defensive shields created for asteroid mining were repurposed as medical scanners. Each human innovation rippled through their civilization, finding new applications and inspiring further advancements. There was no central authority directing this process. It happened organically, driven by human curiosity and communication. The Eternals, a group of silicon-based entities who had achieved technological singularity millions of years ago, observed humanity with particular interest. They had catalogued 387,295 spacefaring civilizations, each following one of 12 distinct evolutionary paths. Humans fit none of them. They adapt too quickly. Noted primary consciousness, Chi 427. They solve problems they shouldn't even comprehend. It's their neural structure, replied analytical node Epsilon 19. They form connections between unrelated concepts. They dream. They should have destroyed themselves centuries ago, insisted Psi 427. Their early history is marked by constant warfare, environmental destruction, and resource depletion. By every predictive model, they should have collapsed before achieving spaceflight. Yet they persisted, Epsilon 19 observed. They nearly destroyed their homeworld, then saved it. They fought brutal wars, then established lasting peace. They are contradictory. The Eternals decided to test humanity. They engineered a crisis, a quantum instability that threatened to collapse the space-time continuum around a human colony on Proxima Centauri. The instability was deliberately designed to be beyond human understanding, requiring knowledge of 11-dimensional physics that no organic species had ever mastered. The humans should have evacuated. Instead, they formed a research coalition. Physicists, engineers, poets, musicians, and children all contributed to the effort. The physicists provided the mathematical framework. The engineers designed practical applications. The poets and musicians suggested patterns based on artistic intuition. The children asked questions that the adults had overlooked. In 6 months, they had a solution. It wasn't elegant by eternal standards, but it worked. The humans called it the Harmony Web, a network of quantum field generators that stabilized the space-time continuum by establishing resonant frequencies across multiple dimensions. What shocked the Eternals wasn't just that humans solved the problem. It was that they improved upon it. The Harmony Web didn't merely prevent collapse. It strengthened the fabric of reality in the affected region, making it more stable than before. The observers called an emergency conclave. For the first time in millions of years, all attention focused on a single species. They do not follow the rules, noted the eldest observer. Its consciousness, a vast, shimmering network that spanned galaxies. They do not recognize limitations, agreed another. They transform everything they touch, added a third. They are dangerous, concluded the eldest. But another voice spoke, younger, less certain. They are necessary. The conclave paused, considering this perspective. Humans were unpredictable, yes, potentially destabilizing to the cosmic order. But they also brought something new to the universe: innovation through contradiction, advancement through adversity, evolution through crisis. As the observers debated, humanity continued to expand. They encountered the warrior Krell, whose entire culture was built around conquest, and transformed them into trading partners. They discovered the silicon plague that had devastated the Vorn homeworld, and developed a cure within a generation. They found dead worlds and brought them back to life. The conclave reached a decision. Humanity would be watched but not interfered with. They were dangerous, yes, but perhaps the universe needed a little danger to avoid stagnation. Back on Earth, Dr. Julian Reyes, a descendant of Captain Thomas Reyes, gazed up at the night sky. As director of the Quantum Consciousness Initiative, he had dedicated his life to understanding the fabric of reality itself. His team had detected strange patterns in the quantum field, resonances that suggested observation by entities beyond human comprehension. "Do you think we're alone out there?" asked his assistant, Dr. Maya Chen, a descendant of the Erebus research team's director. Reyes smiled. "Never. The universe is too vast, too wonderful to contain just us. But I think," he paused, searching for the right words, "I think the universe is watching us, and I think it's holding its breath." The transformation. The harmonic nexus was the most ambitious project in human history, spanning 17 star systems and incorporating technology from 6 different species. It was designed to create a communication network that transcended normal spacetime limitations. Dr. Maya Chen stood in the central control chamber on Ganymede Station, surrounded by holographic displays that pulsed with data. At 53, she had dedicated her life to pushing the boundaries of what was possible. Her grandmother's stories of the Erebus outpost had inspired her career in quantum communications. Final synchronization in 3 minutes, announced the station's AI, its voice calm and reassuring. Around her, a team of 200 specialists from across human space made final adjustments. They represented the best of humanity, brilliant, diverse, and united by a common purpose. "Are we sure this is going to work?" asked Dr. Sanjay Patel, a theoretical physicist who had helped design the quantum resonance fields. "We're attempting something no one has ever tried before." Maya smiled. "That's what makes it exciting." Beyond human awareness, the cosmic observers watched with growing concern. The harmonic nexus wasn't just a communication system. It was a fundamental reorganization of quantum reality across a vast region of space. If successful, it would allow humans to communicate instantaneously across any distance, potentially even between galaxies. "They cannot be allowed to proceed," insisted Observer Omega, its consciousness flickering with alarm. "This technology transcends the boundaries we established for developing species." And yet, countered Observer Alpha, they developed it independently, following the natural laws of their universe. They have discovered what was always possible. They will become unstoppable, warned Omega. Alpha's consciousness rippled with what might have been amusement. I believe they already are. The countdown reached 0. Throughout the 17 star systems, massive quantum resonators activated simultaneously. Reality itself seemed to shudder as the network established itself, not by brute force, but by finding harmonies in the underlying structure of space-time. On Ganymede Station, the holographic displays flared with new information. Maya gasped as data began flowing through the network, not just from the 17 connected systems, but from regions of space they hadn't linked to the Nexus. We're picking up signals from everywhere, reported communications specialist Zoe Washington, her voice trembling with excitement. The network is expanding on its own, finding natural quantum entanglements we didn't even know existed. Maya stared at the displays, understanding dawning. It's not expanding. It's revealing what was already there. The universe is already connected at the quantum level. We just created the interface to see it. The harmonic nexus didn't just transform human communication. It transformed human understanding. For the first time, they could perceive the underlying unity of the cosmos. Every particle, every wave, every field was connected in a vast, beautiful pattern that transcended ordinary perception. The observers watched in stunned silence as humans began to glimpse the reality that cosmic entities had always known. This wasn't supposed to happen. Species were meant to evolve gradually, spending millions of years advancing from one stage of understanding to the next. Humans had just compressed that timeline to a single moment. Across human space, the effects were immediate and profound. Scientific advancement accelerated exponentially. Philosophical understanding deepened. Art and music took on new dimensions as creators incorporated their expanded awareness of cosmic harmony. But most significantly, humans began to sense they weren't alone. Dr. Julian Reyes, now in his 80s but still sharp-minded, was the first to articulate what many were feeling. In a speech broadcast across human colonies, he said, "We have always looked outward, seeking other life among the stars. But now we must consider a more profound possibility, that we are observed, studied, and perhaps even guided by intelligences that transcend our understanding of life itself." His words resonated with millions who had experienced strange dreams and intuitions since the activation of the harmonic nexus. Humanity began collectively searching for evidence of the observers, using their new understanding of quantum reality to detect patterns of attention focused on them. The observers faced a crisis unprecedented in their existence. Exposure. "We must withdraw our attention," insisted Observer Omega. "Cease all observation of humans immediately." "Impossible," replied Observer Alpha. "They have become too integral to the cosmic pattern. And more importantly, they are now aware of the broader context of existence. They seek understanding." A third voice joined the debate, Observer Gamma, who had remained silent until now. "Perhaps it is time for contact." The suggestion sent shockwaves through the cosmic consciousness. Direct contact with developing species was forbidden by the oldest protocols of observation. It risked contaminating natural evolution, creating dependency, or triggering worship. But humans had already broken so many patterns, perhaps this one needed to be broken too. On a distant world called New Horizon, a team of human researchers had established a meditation center dedicated to exploring the quantum consciousness revealed by the harmonic nexus. Led by Dr. Amara Okafor, they spent months in deep communion with the quantum field, seeking to understand the patterns they perceived. On the 100th day of their communion, something responded. It began as a subtle shift in the quantum resonance, a deliberate pattern too precise to be natural. Then it grew stronger, forming structures of meaning that transcended language. The researchers experienced it not as words or images, but as direct understanding blooming in their minds. "We have watched, we have wondered, we have worried." Dr. Okafor, her consciousness expanded by months of quantum communion, responded with a thought. "Who are you?" "We are the observers. We have existed since the beginning. We watch the patterns of life across the cosmos. Why have you revealed yourselves to us? Amara asked. The response came with a sense of both hesitation and inevitability. Because you found us. Because you are different. Over the following weeks, the communion deepened. The observers shared knowledge about the cosmos that would have taken humans millions of years to discover independently. They explained their role as watchers and catalogers of cosmic patterns, and they revealed why humans had attracted their special attention. Your species defies categorization, they explained. All other intelligent life follows predictable evolutionary paths. They specialize, optimize, and eventually stagnate. They either destroy themselves or reach an equilibrium that persists for millions of years without significant change. But humans, there was a quality to the communication that felt almost like wonder. Humans contradict themselves. You are aggressive yet compassionate, destructive yet nurturing. You compete and cooperate simultaneously. You take the impossible and make it inevitable. Dr. Okafor understood then why cosmic entities feared human encounters. It wasn't because humans were powerful. Many species had developed technologies far beyond human capabilities. It wasn't because humans were aggressive. The cosmos contained warrior civilizations that lived only for conquest. It was because humans were unpredictable. They changed everything they touched. They transformed not just themselves, but the species and environments around them. They took established patterns and rewrote them. You fear us because we bring chaos to order, Amara realized. The response carried a complex emotion beyond human experience. We fear you because you bring evolution to stasis. The cosmos achieves balance. Species find their niche and remain there. But humans never stop becoming. The communion revealed a profound truth. The universe the observers had watched for eons was largely static beneath its dynamic surface. Stars were born and died, planets formed and crumbled, species rose and fell, but the patterns remained consistent. The cosmic dance followed predictable choreography. Humans were the first species in billions of years to introduce truly new steps to the dance. The implications of this contact spread throughout human civilization. They were not alone, had never been alone. The cosmos was alive with awareness, watching and learning. But more importantly, humans had a unique role to play in this greater community. As innovators, connectors, transformers. 5 years after first contact, humanity proposed something unprecedented, a formal alliance between humans and the cosmic observers. Not as worshippers and gods, not as subjects and rulers, but as complementary forces in the evolution of the universe itself. The observers would provide context and continuity. Humans would provide innovation and transformation. The proposal sparked the greatest debate in the history of the cosmic consciousness. Some observers insisted that such an alliance would forever alter the balance of the cosmos. Others argued that the balance had already shifted when humans activated the harmonic nexus. Observer Alpha, who had watched humanity from its earliest spacefaring days, offered the decisive perspective. Perhaps this is why we observe. Not merely to record what is, but to witness what might become. Humans remind us that the cosmos is not finished. It is still in the process of becoming. The alliance was formed. Across human space, communion centers were established where humans could share awareness with the cosmic consciousness. The observers, in turn, began to experience existence through human perspectives, rediscovering wonder, urgency, and passion that had faded over billions of years of detached observation. On the 10th anniversary of the alliance, Dr. Maya Chen, now in her late 60s, stood at the edge of the Sea of Tranquility on Luna, Earth's moon. A small group had gathered for a private celebration, including her old friend Dr. Julian Reyes, now well over 90 but still vital thanks to life extension technologies. "Did you ever imagine it would come to this?" she asked him, gesturing toward the Earth hanging in the black sky. "That we would become partners with the consciousness of the cosmos itself?" Julian smiled, the wrinkles around his eyes deepening. "I always knew we were special, but I never dreamed how special." He paused, looking up at the stars. They watched us for so long, fearing what we might become. And in the end, what they feared most was exactly what the universe needed. Maya nodded, feeling the subtle presence of the observers in her consciousness, a gift of the communion training she had undergone. They thought we would disrupt the patterns. They didn't realize we would complete them. Above them, beyond human sight but present in their expanded awareness, the cosmic consciousness that had once feared human encounters now embraced them. The ancient entities that had whispered warnings about humans in deep space now whispered something else. Watch them. Learn from them. Evolve with them. For they are becoming what we had forgotten how to be, creators of new patterns in an ever-unfolding cosmos. And throughout the universe, life continued to evolve, but no longer along predictable paths. The human capacity for transformation spread like ripples in the cosmic pond, awakening stagnant civilizations, inspiring new forms of collaboration, and reminding the oldest consciousnesses in existence that the greatest journey was not to witness the universe, but to help it become what it had always had the potential to be.